All right, folks, let me introduce you to myself. My name is Eric Auger. I'm the Director of Research and Development here at American Business Systems. And with that experience, we're able to help you, especially when you're trying to get a doctor. We're here to help you make sure that we help you secure those doctors. And things that we're learning there in research and development are certainly there to help you out. I want to take just a brief moment here to explain who is American Business Systems to you. And we're a company that's been around. Next year will be our 20th anniversary. So we've been in business for over 19 years now. It all started with Patrick and his wife, and he'll explain a little bit about that information to you. But we have been in the business for like 19 years helping folks just like you with husbands and wives and partners get into the business of medical billing and medical billing from home, or even if you want to grow that business into your brick and mortar place, you can certainly do that. If you have not been out to our website yet, our website is absystems.com. There you'll be able to find out all about the packages that you see there. Everything you see there on screen, the EMRX, the iClaim, the Code Right, the Audit Guard, are all included in your licensing fee. But if you want more information and you want to get really into your due diligence, those orange buttons there that you see there, I'm kind of circling right there, will get you into what's called our virtual brochure. And this is where you will be able to take section by section and review more about the business, more about the opportunity, how we help you get clients, the training, the support, everything that you see up there as we're kind of circling around those right along here at the top, all the way to the final steps with your paperwork and what you need to do to become an ABS licensee. We certainly want you to take your time to go through that. ABS is also part of the nation's largest independent group outside of American Business itself, of a professional group called the Healthcare Billing and Management Organization. And as you can see that there, we've been a part of them for almost going on 2 to 3 years, I think, by this time. And everybody usually asks us about the Better Business Bureau, and we have the highest rating possible at an A+ with the Fort Worth Better Business Bureau. And for those that would like to come by and visit with us, we are certainly welcoming you to come by and come check us out at our home office here just north of Fort Worth in Keller, Texas. Just get with your ABS rep and coordinate a visit, and make sure that you have time to come by and visit with us, see our office, visit with Patrick. We would love to have you here at your convenience. Our next training workshop is just a few weeks away. It's April the 8th through the 12th. Where I think we're about 5.5 weeks away from that right now. And so you certainly want to get a part of that and get things going. If you're looking at getting started here, especially after the first quarter this year, this is our first training class for the second quarter of 2013. Let me introduce you to Patrick Phillips, our CEO of our company of American Business Systems. Again, like I said, he and his wife started this business a few years back. And including with that, he's written some books as a great author, How to Reprogram Yourself for Success. He's also co-authored with the one in the middle with several authors that you well known called Wake Up, Live the Life You Love. And the third book that you see there, Cash Crunch to Cash Flow, that's actually one of your marketing pieces that helps you build your business. So he co-authored that with a CPA, talking about cash flow and cash crunch and everything else going through there. All right, so let's bring Patrick on the call with us. Patrick, are you there?
You bet. Hey, Eric, thank you.
Yes.
Wow, we've got a lot of questions on the board already today. That's kind of weird,
I don't even know if we're going to be able to get through our top 10.
Well, we'll see if we pick the top 10. Obviously, a lot of people are going to have questions that we didn't pick out of the 10 because there's probably, 2 or 3 dozen questions that people normally ask us. But yeah, let's just jump right into it, Eric. I thought we would go ahead and show them, those of the people who haven't found the, the question box over there on the control panel. You may have to look for that control panel. In fact, folks, it's GoToWebinar sometimes hides that down in your little, tray at the bottom of your screen, or maybe it's behind another window. But somewhere you'll find this little thing. It looks similar to this. This one's the one that's here on my Macintosh computer. But if you find it, just push the little question button there. If you don't see the question box yet, it'll be hidden maybe. And once you do see the question box, then just type your question right in there and send it to us. Yeah. Okay. Well, Eric, let's start with question number 1. Why doctors do their own billing? Why do they need me?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was on a call earlier today, and someone asked me that very question. So let's deal with that right off the bat here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, doctors are not really trained, in all the schooling they go through, the 8 years, 12 years, whatever it is. They're really not trained in business, are they, Eric?
They're really not. I mean, I think some of the doctors that we've talked to, Patrick, I think they've only take 1 or 2 classes, not even semesters, on business. Everything else that they're dealing with is in the medical field.
Yeah, and if you think about it, folks, the billing side of their business is really, of their practice, I should say, is a business. It's all business, and it's all about collecting the money that's already due them, because what they'd rather do is see patients. That's what their whole life is all about, is helping people get well. Although some of them, of course, got in for some money. They can make some pretty good money as a doctor, but they don't want to focus on things outside their core competency. They want to focus on, seeing the patients, for example. And then, of course, there's a real good financial reason why doctors outsource their billing. Why don't you kind of go through this with them, Eric?
Sure, absolutely. Patrick's got up here the difference between in-house costs versus outsourcing costs. And as you can see here on the left-hand side of that column, if a regular office is doing about 400 claims per month, you can see there Patrick's got it kind of highlighting there about $100 per claim at 6%. That's actually going to have an outsource cost at about $28,000 a year. Whereas if they're doing it in their own office, they have to have someone in their office doing this billing. And so just with that could be $46,000 because it's usually divided between 1 or 2 people, and that's why we kind of got the 1.5 full-time billing employees, as you see there, at about $15 an hour. And then go through the payroll taxes and the workman's comp and the training costs and the leave for coverage and employee benefits package, and just let alone the hardware and software portions of it. You can see that could quickly add up to about $65,000 per year, as you see there, on in-house costs versus the $28,000. And that's what we usually kind of come up with, isn't it, Patrick? About anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 a licensee can make off of just one doctor.
Yeah, we'll see that a little bit later here, too, because one of the questions, of course, that people ask is how much money can I make? And we're going to actually go to our little calculator on our website and show you exactly how you can figure out, the kind of money that you can make, and you'll see it falls right in right in line with that. Yeah.
Right. So, the doctors, it literally will cost them. Now, this is just the cost side of everything. We're not even dealing with if they're having trouble collecting and rejected claims and nobody else is filing those claims. That could even be more than that.
Right, and you'll certainly increase their revenue by reducing their rejection rate on their claims and doing all kinds of things inside of our system that will, again, bring up their bottom line. So those were just the costs. So doctors like this one, they don't want to deal with all the paperwork. What they'd like to focus on is the patient care. So that's why doctors, don't want to do their own billing. Now, do they? Yes. I mean, really, when you walk into an office, Eric, there's only 2 situations there, right? They're either doing it themselves with their own staff and their own computer software and so forth, or they've already outsourced it to a billing company.
Correct.
And so how is it that our ABS licensees are actually signing up doctors on a regular basis? Well, they get unhappy with their situation. And once we educate them on what we can do to increase their revenue, they go, oh, well, then let me get this out of here. This doesn't need to be in my office. Absolutely. And so outsourcing is the future. Yeah.
Patrick, I think most doctors do know that outsourcing is the better way to go. I think they know that. But, I think some of the feedback that we've heard from doctors that said, hey, I don't want to do my billing, I don't want to outsource my billing because I feel like I lose control or there's a lack of transparency. You want to kind of address that just real quickly, and then we can move on to the next question?
Well, that's a good point, Eric. They love our system because you folks, as ABS licensees, once you start doing their billing and having administrative rights to our web-based billing system, you can give them access to it. So the doctor can actually see in real time exactly where you are on the billing and where the money is. It's in real time. I mean, literally, they see it directly on the screen inside of our system. So there's the transparency that they're looking for, and they don't have to wonder whether you're going to tell them the truth as to whether you filed, 300 claims this week or not. They can go in there and see it for themselves. So that solves that problem for them. Yeah, good point.
Hey, Patrick,
Eric.
let's take one call here from Jose, and I think this kind of goes right in line with what we're talking about here. He asked, what's the downside of this business?
Oh, the downside of the business. That is a great question. Now it makes me wish I had put that in here as one of the 10 questions. We do get that quite a bit. I mean, because it almost sounds, if you guys have been on some of our webinars, that we get that a lot, Eric, don't we? It almost sounds too good to be true.
Correct.
And so people are wondering, well, what is the downside? The downside is, folks, that this is not a fad. It's not a trick. It's not a gimmick. It's not one of these, open up a yogurt shop that could be here today and then tomorrow there's all kinds of health benefits that you shouldn't be eating yogurt. This is something that's been around for a long time. It's based on a real need in the marketplace, and it's going to be here for a long, long time to come. So the downside is that it's a real business. Now, why do I say that's a downside? Because that means you're going to have to work.
Right.
Yeah. This is not a get-rich-quick one of those internet things that you may be looking at there on your computer about how you can get rich marketing on the internet. I'm not saying that people don't. I'm just saying that this one is based in reality, which means you literally you're going to put in some hours. You're going to work hard to make the kind of money that we can show you that you can make. But it's very satisfying because you know that it's based on a solid rock of real need in the marketplace.
Absolutely. Perfect. Thanks, Patrick.
Is that as good a downside as you can think
so,
of?
Because if people, like you said, think they're almost too good to be true, and especially whenever, the doctors are fearful about their money and they're asking, again, what's the downside? There's really not a downside to it for business-wise because this is a great need out in the marketplace. So let's go on with question number 2.
Okay, do I need experience or training in billing or coding? We get that a lot, don't we? I mean, people think they need to go out and take some kind of course. We're talking about the codes. Now, I'm going to put this up on the screen here where I think you guys can see it. It'll take a second to load. But this is a picture of what's called a doctor's super bill. There it is. And a super bill is what the doctor, has printed out. They all look different in every doctor's office. But as you can see, there are codes out there beside each one of these things. So for a patient visit, there's a code for different levels or different amounts of time. And then for everything that the doctor does or sees that's wrong with the patient, there's a code. And then there's a code for everything the doctor does to help the patient get well. I'm showing you all that because people think that you have to know about all these codes. And because if you looked at the books that the codes come in, there's a ton of them.
Right.
And there's lots of courses out there from different companies, folks, that will take you through learning how to do medical billing. But Eric, what would you say the percentage is of people who come through our classes and have any experience? I wouldn't think it's.
I'd say less than 10%. Actually.
Oh yeah.
Of people that actually have any, what I would even say, medical background, and that would be from any of those.
Yeah, even working in the doctor's office. I mean, most people have been to see a doctor. That's their experience with a medical field. And the reason that there are courses out there and things like this, folks, is because, people make money selling courses like this, and they make it seem more difficult than it is. And if you're going to go get a job, working for a doctor in a doctor's office, then maybe you need a whole lot of background in this. But ours is so simple, and our system is so user-friendly that you're not going to have to spend hours just sitting at home, studying and pondering on how, to do medical billing and memorizing all the codes. All the codes are built into our system, so you don't need to know the codes.
Right. Well, let me ask this question to you, Patrick. Since we're on these codes, and do I have to, as a medical billing company, have to know these codes? Who's responsible for those codes?
Well, the doctor. The staff at the doctor's office is the one that gives you those codes, and you simply put them into our system. Now, if they're wrong, the system will catch that and let you know that, and then you go back to the doctor and say, look, that code is not applicable. It's been updated. Ours is always up to date. So that's why when you go through the class, and you're seeing an actual picture of one of our latest classes here in the Fort Worth, Dallas area, As you can see, they're limited to about 20 people. We go through step by step. They're all using computers that we bring into the classroom there, and you do hands-on, and you'll see for yourself that those codes are in there. So everything you need to learn, folks, is right here in this one-week class. Now, you're not going to learn everything there is to know, because there is some on-the-job training that you'll learn once you get a client. But you'll know the basics of how to get started, and that's the important thing. And then, of course, you've got our lifetime support, following that.
Hey, let me interject this. Patrick, right before the webinar here, I was letting you know that we did a demo with one of our prospects who's actually on the call, and I also mentioned from you that he's actually on business trip in Africa right now. So it's kind of interesting that we did a demo with him just a moment ago. But he was really asking about the codes themselves, and how does the system do that? And whenever I showed him online, literally how the system actually generates the codes for the doctors when the doctor's doing a physical exam on a patient utilizing EMRX. It's incredible what that system will do.
Yeah, doctors that see our demos that we do for our licensees, they're just blown away. I mean, all they're saying throughout the whole thing is just, wow.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen anything like that. Because, folks, there's nothing like this on the market. This is the real-time data that the doctor's seeing right there on the screen. And like Eric said, our system even suggests to the doctor, while he's using the electronic medical records part of our system, which codes he should be using to maximize his revenue. It's fantastic. Well, I put these pictures up of some of our recent classes just to show you guys that these are real people. Every one of the people that you see in these pictures have been through our training, and nobody in these pictures that I know of had any medical training at all. Like Eric said, it might be 10%, so there might be one or two in there. But most people don't ever have any background or training. You do not need to go through any training other than what we give you. And then, of course, we've got online training as well, folks. Once you have completed our week-long training here in Dallas, we've got, what Eric, maybe, I don't know, 50, 60 hours of training. Oh,
yeah,
videos.
And that's combined between maybe what's on the LSS and then actually what's the training that's on through iClaim in and of itself. We've got tons of hours.
Technology partners, right.
That's right. So we've got a lot of videos out there and training to help you, your staff. Because, Patrick, I guess one question that we didn't even put up there is that I do hear, and it's maybe a little off topic here, but, when people do come to training, they also want to know, well, how do I train my staff? Do I got to send them back to training? And they don't have to do that because of what you're talking about right there. We've got tons of online tutorials and webinars that are already on there for you, also to help try to train your staff.
Yeah, 24/7. People can go out there and learn all that stuff.
Correct.
All right. Are we ready for the next question, Eric, or is there any other question you see there that we want to address right now?
Let's go ahead and get into this third one. This will kind of get us at least almost a third through our questions for the day. So let's jump right there on this one.
Okay, so this is a big one, folks. It's how much money can I make on my own without hiring other people? Now, let me address it by saying, first of all, folks, we do have licensees that have hired people. They've had to because as their clientele refers other doctors to other doctors, it's just going to grow, right, Eric? I mean, you can't. There's nothing you can do about it. And when it does, of course, you then have the ability to add other people working from their home. Since it's a web-based system, right, you can give them access with a login and password to get into the system. Or, like some of our licensees, we've actually got licensees, several of them, that have opened commercial office space. They leased commercial office space and brought people in. So that's always a possibility somewhere down the line if you want to grow that big. This is as big or as little as you want to make it. Now, I put our website address up here because I actually had a link there. I clicked on it, and it'll show up here. Here we go. And I've actually gone to our website because I want to show you guys something. Let me see if I can increase the size of that just a little bit here. It should be zooming in here just a second. So you can see this a little bit closer. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to one of the links up here and show you live right here on our website that you can go to the income potential and click on the medical billing income calculator. Now, when you do that, it will take you to a screen that tells you basically what to do, but here's what it's asking. It wants to know the number of doctors that you would like to have as clients. Now, I'm going to leave it at 1 because that's what's in there. That's a pretty, let's start with 1, see what happens. And then I'm also going to leave the average number of patients that each doctor sees per day and the average number of days that the office is open. So I'm going to leave that 20 in there for the number of patients per day and 5 days a week. And we've got on here a charge of 6%. Now, Eric, talk to us just a little bit about that percentage. That's kind of an average, but I mean, what does it vary?
I would say, Patrick, I think I've seen it vary from as low as 5% and can be as high as 8 to 9%. And that's always going to be the variable depending upon how many patients that doctor is seeing, and then basically the other number that's the variable is the amount of, what's the reimbursement amount on each of those claims. So that will always be worked there on the percentage. So we kind of hit 6% as the middle ground because it kind of splits all the differences there. But because we do get that question asked a lot about, what percentage do I charge? So that's why we shoot for 6%.
And, of course, you guys can plug in any numbers you want here just to see what happens. The average claim amount is probably a little low for, some specialties, but maybe for a general practitioner, it's going to run 100 to 150, something like that. But let's leave all the numbers as they are and see what happens when we hit the submit button now. All right, so as you can see, it's come back and said that your yearly gross income from that one office can be $31,200 or about $2,600 a month. So to go back to our question, the question was, how much money can I make on my own without hiring others? Eric, let's address that just a little bit here because when is it that they would need help? Let's go to the next slide here. I'll get back to the slides here so we can see that.
I think what we've seen as a threshold to where they need help is when they've got about 4 to 5 doctors, and that's kind of splitting, again, that particular difference right there. So as you can see here, Patrick's got up here, when will you need help? And we've got average time to process a claim about 2 minutes, and really with our system, it's really less than 2 minutes. The average numbers of claim for like a general practitioner is about 350, and that's for that entire week. So if you times that by 2, that's going to give you about 12 hours in an entire week.
A month.
In a month. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
In a full month there. So 12 hours out of that entire month. This is a part-time job.
Yeah. One office with 350 claims a month, folks. That's very part-time. Look, even if our numbers are off here, double that. That's 24 hours a month. That's what, 6 hours a week that you'd be putting in for this one doctor. Now, are there other things that you'll do besides the claims? Of course. You may be handling some things, posting some payments, printing out the patient statements and so forth. But, guys, it still comes out pretty good. As you saw, let's go back to the number there. That's $31,200 that you're making for that. So that's pretty good part-time income. So when will you need somebody else? Well, like Eric said, you take these numbers that we see here on the slide and multiply those by 4, and you probably are at some point saying, you know what, I don't need to be doing all this myself. I can hire somebody. I got plenty of revenue at that point, over 100,000, right, according to these numbers. And I can certainly pay somebody else $10, $12 an hour to, do the data entry. And that's indeed exactly what some licensees do. I've had licensees start out doing the medical billing themselves, and then pretty quick they'll find a friend or a relative that wants to do it, and they'll teach them how to do it and let them do all the work, and then they just make the difference there.
Absolutely, and I think the way I like to look at it, Patrick, because we've been able to see this on the R&D side, and that is, if you got one doctor and they're averaging again about 20, 25 patients a day. To do the full work on that doctor, it's averaging about 90 minutes per doctor. And so if you had 4 doctors, you've got about 6 hours worth of work there in the day. And so as a licensee, you got to make that decision. Do I want to continue this and just add maybe one more doctor and that's it for me? Or do I make that cut and I go, let me hire somebody, keep growing this business, and let's really grow this business. So I look at that 4 to 5 doctor to kind of be that that tipping point?
Yeah, I usually hold up my hand and tell people that a handful of doctors, literally, and you're going to be looking at hiring somebody for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our instructors that we fly in for our training classes are licensees who are actually working in the business, of course, out there in their areas building the business. And you can ask these questions to them, and they'll tell you the very same things that we're saying here. Okay, let's go on here then.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go to this one last question, or this fourth question here, and then I'm going to hop on with some of these other questions that have come in here.
All right, number 4. We get this question a lot. How do I get that information from the doctor's office to my home? Now, guys, there's always a fax machine, right? And most people think in terms of, in today's world, you wouldn't go and pick something up or have it mailed to you, certainly. So people think, oh, well, I'll just use a fax. But imagine dozens of pieces of paper coming in from each one of your doctors each day in your fax machine. Not only would it wear out your fax machine pretty quick, but you would just have a jumble of papers on your desk to have to deal with. So we have a service that you can actually offer to the doctor, but you, as an ABS licensee, will want to use this service as well. This is our secure online document management system called iDocs Now. So the way it works, folks, is that you actually will put a scanner in the doctor's office, and of course you're having the doctor pay that with their setup fee up front. But anyway, the scanner sits there. At the end of the day, they drop in all the paperwork. It'll take any size paper. It'll scan both sides of the page, and it scans that into our online system. So the nice thing is that you will then set at your computer, and we tell people just, spend another $100 and get a second monitor. You can plug that into your computer, and you literally can see on one screen the information that the doctor is sending to you, and then you see on the other screen our system. So you're typing that in without any paper anywhere. It's paperless, completely paperless. That's why this guy is looking so happy here.
Well, and that's why I wanted to kind of wait on some of these questions that were coming in, because here's one from Clyde. Clyde asked this question about HIPAA, and he goes, what controls do licensees need to implement to avoid violating HIPAA or HIPAA rules or those compliance issues? So I thought this would be a great question as you're talking about this iDocs Now.
Yes, HIPAA is the division of the government that was set up to protect the patient privacy. And so what Clyde's asking here, folks, is what is it that makes our system HIPAA compliant? Well, first of all, when you have a web-based medical billing system, it has to be certified by HIPAA as compliant, meaning it has the safeties built into it and the security and the backups and so forth to keep that patient data private. So ours is certified by HIPAA. And then, of course, our iDocs Now system that I just mentioned to you is also certified by HIPAA. So we have both systems as they tie together being very, you can see that right here on the screen, that it's improved compliance for the doctor. It's all encrypted and has all the things in place to make it HIPAA compliant.
Absolutely. So those are some of the steps, and that's what really, it's not really the licensee that has to insure anything. It's something that we as ABS has actually insured for our licensees, that everything that we provide them is HIPAA compliant.
Yeah, and that's why our system will log you off after just a short period of time if you're not doing anything on it, because
Correct.
You don't want to walk off and leave your computer open and in walks your 16-year-old son and starts looking at patient data there on the screen.
Right.
So anyway, it's all very protected, and we go through that in the training, folks. But believe me, you will be signing some agreements with HIPAA that says that you are going to protect the data according to their rules and regulations. You're not going to post it out on your Facebook page.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let me see what other questions that may have come in here. I mean, we're sort of at the bottom of the hour here, and we've only gotten through 4 questions here. Let's see. All right, let's go on to the next question, and I'm trying to make sure that they kind of fit within the categories where we are, and then we'll take as many as at the end of it. So let's talk about this number 5 here.
Yeah, what are my other expenses besides the ABS licensing fee? Now, folks, you can find all about our ABS licensing fee on our website. So go back to absystems.com. There's a little link up at the top that says, what is the investment? It will tell you exactly what the investment is. It's a one-time, lifetime licensing fee of $24,990, or about $25,000. Now, folks, for this business and the potential of what you can make in this business, that is probably, Eric, I would say, compared to all the franchises and things that are out there, probably one of the least expensive investments that you could look at.
Right.
But that's a one-time fee for us. Ongoing, there are no royalties. We're not a franchise, so you're not going to pay us anything ongoing. It's unlimited users in our system, unlimited upgrades to the software. That's all inclusive. We're not going to nickel and dime you to death like some companies do on the back end. Even the support is lifetime support. There are no further charges. Ask anybody that's in this business if they've ever heard of that, and every other company out there has ongoing fees that you have to be careful of. Now, there are other expenses that, it's going to take you to get a business up and running if you don't have a computer or you need to upgrade your computer, although, Eric, I can't think of any reason why they couldn't use a computer. As long as they can browse the internet right now, they can certainly use our system. It's web-based,
right.
But you will need a phone. You might need a separate phone line. We can show you how to do that virtually, so you don't literally have to put a phone in your house. It can all be done virtually, and we teach that in the training. And if you're going to do some marketing, let's say, for example, now a lot of our marketing things that we teach are not going to cost you anything but some time. But if you're doing direct mail, for example, the Postal Service is going to want you to, spend some money on the postage. The printing would cost you something. Now, Eric, we give them what is the number of brochures and
wow,
over
2,000 pieces. I think I've did a little bit of calculation. It's enough marketing materials really for that first year of marketing, and that's a lot of marketing materials for that licensee.
So if you do get to the point where you want to reorder some marketing materials, of course that would cost you. And any associations that you might want to join. Now, what I mean by that is like we're going to teach you how to do business networking. Well, some chambers of commerces have a $200 or $300 a year annual fee that you might want to pay to join them. We will show you how to network in places where it doesn't cost you anything, but there are other organizations like BNI and others that have a membership fee. But again, $300 a year, that's pretty cheap marketing.
Right.
And then any processing costs for actually processing the claims themselves through our clearinghouse are absorbed by your clients. Eric, you want to kind of explain how that works?
Certainly. Yeah, I know Patrick's talked about the percentage that you'll be charging, and that's one of the reasons why we ask you to work with us at support, because we want to make sure that you're covering all of your costs, because there are some just normal operating costs that go along with the iClaim system and the EMRX system. And so basically what you'll be able to do is learn how to wrap in all of these expenses that for processing those claims into your percentages of what you're charging the doctor, so that there's no out-of-pocket money that's coming out from you at all. So Patrick's pretty much taking care of all of these other expenses that you might have and occur during charging or doing the book work for the doctor. But again, those processing costs are really absorbed by the client themselves.
Yeah, and folks, we know that was kind of generic there, but we don't have time to go into any real detail. You can ask your ABS rep any questions about your costs that you feel like you want to clarify, and they'll be glad to share that with you. Okay?
Yeah, and Patrick, Mary's got a question about equipment and scanner, because we just talked about the scanner, but this kind of falls in line with the expenses. She's asking, is equipment like the scanner, computer, et cetera, included in the business fee?
I guess she's referring, of course, to our license fee that I mentioned earlier.
I believe
so. No, that's equipment is not included. That's why we're saying that that scanner, for example, that I mentioned earlier, when you set the doctor up for billing, there's a setup fee that's usually $1,000 to $1,500. Well, that little scanner is going to cost you about, $350 or $400. So
Right.
you cover that by getting a setup fee from the doctor, and then the rest of it is yours for having set the doctor up.
Correct.
So yeah, you're never out of pocket anything that you're not collecting from the doctor themselves. Now, your computer and phone, of course, all this is your own personal equipment, so of course you have to spend that money on that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
Number 6.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good one, isn't it? We get this a lot. How can I have credibility with doctors with no experience
Oh, great
or
question
references? There. Yeah, and
That is,
folks, one of the things we say is, and we'll help you position this. In training, we teach you to say, I'm a part of the nation's largest network of independent medical billing companies. We do hundreds of claims every day, thousands of claims every day for hundreds of doctors from coast to coast. And so, folks, you are going to position yourself as, it's kind of like opening, I don't know what, Eric, a Century 21 office or,
right.
Something like that, or an insurance company for Allstate or something. You are just a local office as a part of our network that has been opened in your area. But it doesn't mean that you don't have the backing of a 19-year-old company like American Business Systems that has the experience and has references too. For example, if your doctor wants to speak to me, we let licensees give out a direct number to me as the CEO of American Business Systems that they can call and speak with about references. Now, if they get really, want to get down to the nitty-gritty, they're ready to get involved with you, and all they're waiting for is just to hear from one other doctor. We can put them in contact with a doctor too. But believe me, most of the time, they take what we have as a company, our experience and our background, and the fact that we're a nationwide network as somebody that's very solid. So you're going to position yourself as a part of our network. Plus, we've actually been, our whole system has been approved by, for example, the American Podiatric Medical Association. Ours is the first and only cloud-based electronic health record with the APMA seal. So, folks, that's credibility that you could not get on your own just using, some piece of software off the shelf out there. The American Osteopathic Association has endorsed and approved our system. So these are the kinds of things that you get with ABS that you can't get out there on your own, and it builds huge credibility, doesn't it, Eric?
Absolutely. And let me add this also. Let's not forget about the how we help our licensees help them get their clients. And a lot of time that question never even gets asked because we're doing the demos for their doctors, and we are part of their support team and implementation team. And I'm telling you, a lot of that about credibility really just goes away because you're utilizing, again, like what Patrick said, over the 19 years of experience with American Business Systems. And when we get those doctors on the phone, I promise you, your credibility really goes through the roof on that one.
Yeah, it's not just you, working out of your spare bedroom in your pajamas. You're a part of something big, folks. And when you set up those demos, you can ask your ABS rep a little bit more about that. We'll get into that here in just a moment. But when you set up the demos with the doctors, you tell them, I'll get one of our support people, one of our technology partners, to show you the system so you can feel comfortable that what we're about to do for you to solve your revenue cycle problems is based on solid technology. And like Eric said, then we are the ones on the phone and on the computer showing them that presentation of our system, and it builds huge credibility. Licensees are on those, kind of watching along with their doctors from their computer, but they don't really say anything, do they, Eric? They're just kind of sitting there listening to the whole thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And usually the doctor just says at the end, well, this sounds terrific. How do I get started? And that's
Absolutely.
where you come in as an ABS licensee. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, let's keep motoring through these guys because there's a lot of great questions. I think I want to wait towards the end here.
Okay. All right. Number 7, what is my territory? What limits do I have? So the best way I knew to show that, folks, is by first telling you that we have licensees who have clients, excuse me, all over their territory. Yeah, and their territory happens to be of the entire United States of America. That's right. You can do processing for doctors no matter where they're located in the United States. So let's say you live out here in Carson City, California, and you know a doctor, and you sign up a doctor there that knows a doctor in Topeka, Kansas. That doctor can sign up with you totally over the internet using phone and internet and GoToMeeting and other technology that's available. And then they send all of their data directly into our iDocs Now virtual document management system, and you're doing it all, over the internet. It's just wonderful technology that allows you to do that. So there are no territories. We're not a franchise. If you were opening a Subway sandwich shop, your territory is about 2 miles around your shop, and then you could have another, Subway sandwich shop open. So no territories, nothing to worry about. You can build this as big as you want. And again, we do have licensees who have clients all over. In fact, the 2 instructors that come to the training both have clients that are out of state. So it does happen more often than you ever can imagine.
And
okay.
I think the reason people ask that question, Patrick, is they ask, what is my territory? And it really gets into this next question about the competition in my area. They kind of want to know, is there anybody local to me? Am I going to step on their territory? So I'm really glad you got these 2 questions back to back here.
Yeah, competition is always a concern for anybody starting out a business. So let's address that by going back out to our website, absystems.com. Here it is. And there's another link here that you need to be aware of if you haven't been to our website or found it yet, called Find My Doctor, Find Doctors in My Area. It's under Income Potential, Find Doctors in My Area. Now, the reason we have it there is because wait till you see what kind of potential there is out there. Eric, why don't we have somebody type in a zip code?
Yeah,
and
someone,
we'll just take the first one that comes in there on the question box.
Yeah, okay, 41701.
All right, so we're going to see the results. We click that button right there, and then it goes out to this page that lets us pick the type of doctor that we want. So I'm just going to pick medical providers. That's pretty generic, but we'll find out where this person's at. They're in somewhere near Hazard, Kansas, it looks like. And if you look over here on the left-hand side, it'll take just a second for that to show up. Here we go. Now, I clicked on medical providers over there on the left, and it's loading in a map here. This is actually tied in with Google Maps. So it's not our data, it's Google that's providing this to us. And you'll see when the screen comes up, there it is. Over on the left-hand side, it starts to list some of the medical providers in that area. And then it goes down to the bottom here, at the very bottom, to show you the number. Look, there's 344 doctors within that zip code there in that area. So it looks like kind of a small rural area there. Then
Absolutely.
you can go back to the previous screen and pick any other category there. Let's take, for example,
look at just family doctors. I bet you we'll increase it from there too.
Family doctors, all right, and then we'll go back here. It'll show up just a second. You've got a little delay there, and it'll eventually show up there. It's got a lot of graphics to load up with that map, I guess. Here it comes. And look over the bottom. I've scrolled down to the bottom of that list, and you can see the number down here at the bottom. Just a second. Taking a while there. There it is. 940 more. So look, guys, you go back to that page and click on every one of those categories. Let me go back there and just show you again so you can see. And this is not all the specialties that are out there, but every one of these would have numbers. I'm sure there's several thousand medical providers in that area once you add up surgeons, fertility clinics, ambulance services, chiropractors, and on and on and on. So when we talk about competition, folks, think about this. In any given area, there's going to be sometimes thousands. In the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I think it's like 32,000 or some huge number,
right,
because this is a pretty good metropolitan area. But no matter what the number is, it doesn't matter. Proportionately, you can't handle 940 doctors yourself.
Right.
You know, we've already told you that with a handful, you're going to be hiring people and making a six-figure income. So that question is kind of a mute question when it comes down to competition. Okay. Let's jump back over to question number 10. We're at, hey, 3:45, and we're at question number 10.
I think we're doing well. All right, so let's ask the question about what does ABS do to help me get clients? That is a Huge
And
pleasure.
Eric, you're the expert on this. You kind of mentioned it a while ago. Why don't you kind of explain what's going on here on the screen?
Oh, absolutely. It's my pleasure. This is, I think, Patrick, one of the most exciting things that we can do, and really what separates us from anybody else that's actually doing medical billing and helping folks get into the medical billing business as we do. And this is where we're able to, via the GoToMeeting, right now we're using GoToWebinar, but when we're in a GoToMeeting, the questions are actually opened up to where people can talk with us. And so how we would do this is you got the person up here in the left-hand corner, the gentleman, which might be you, and you see the person down there at the other corner there is the doctor's office, and we're somewhere in the middle. We're kind of hidden behind you in the background, so to say, and we're conducting that demo for you, for your doctors. And this is how we help you get clients. Patrick, getting into business is a scary business, and especially if you get into a field where you may not know a whole lot about that particular business. But I think what has brought our newest licensees the greatest comfort is to know that we're standing behind them, and we're going to help them all along the way to that first client. We will do as many of these demos as is needed to help our licensees get clients. So that's what we're doing, folks, about helping you get your clients.
And we're there to actually answer the questions. The doctor's going to ask questions, and you don't have to worry about getting stuck because you're on there, you're listening, you're maybe making a comment from time to time, but we're there to answer all of the questions that the doctor asks. Folks, it doesn't get any better than this. Eric, I don't know of any other company in America that does this for their franchisees or licensees like we do.
No, there's just not that I know of. And but again, we're unique, and I think you mentioned that earlier about how we're able to help our licensees, because what we're able to do, because I think someone may have mentioned earlier about about other fees with ABS, and that there's no franchise fees, there's no royalty fees, but you want to explain to them maybe, Patrick, about basically how we make money on the back end and the reason why we do these things? Because, again, that's that uniqueness about us and the reason why we want to help drive business for our licensees.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Eric, because that is an important point. Most companies, folks, are set up to where they'll sell you a license of some sort or a franchise. Now, franchises make money, of course, because they get a 6 or 8% right off the top of your gross. But we decided not to build our company that way. Our model is built with our technology partners and the clearinghouses so that we do make a few pennies on each one of the claims that are processed through our system. So our incentive is to help you get clients because we continue to make money off of those claims just like you do. Now, that doesn't come out of your pocket. You're not paying us. That comes from the technology partners. Think about it this way. When you buy a Chrysler at the Chrysler dealership, that Chrysler dealer actually gets a rebate from Chrysler when they sell a car. It could be $3,000 or $4,000. Well, on the back end, we're making money from our technology partners so that we have a vested interest in your success. That makes us pretty unique in today's marketplace.
Absolutely.
So even though we do make money, of course, on the license fee itself, we have to cover our costs for training and ongoing support and technology that we support you with. We also make money on those transactions, so we're going to make sure that you get as many clients as you want to get.
And again, as Patrick says, that does make us unique in the marketplace because that's where we separate ourselves from everybody else, because nobody else has the vested interest in their licensees or people that come and join them in the medical field, because, again, we are tied on the back end to really help you out on the front end. So that's why we will do as many of these demos and help you and encourage you and support you and give you all the training that's needed out there. And even, Patrick, you've done a lot of times in the past working one-on-one with some licensees. Why don't you tell everybody about how you've been able to do that and how you've helped those licensees get clients there?
Sorry, I missed. I was paying attention to something over here on one of the questions. What is it that you want me to explain to America?
Well, this is live, folks. This is how we do it. But how unique we are here at ABS, where you've been able to actually personally coach licensees. That just not all CEOs of companies do that.
Well, that's because, again, I have a vested interest in everybody's success that comes through our training. And every once in a while, somebody has, for example, we had a licensee recently that had a large clinic out in California, 24 doctors. So that's the kind of thing that I just drool over,
Right.
And so I always get involved in anything that has, maybe it's bigger than what the licensee feels like they can handle on their own. Not just myself, but Eric and my son Adam, who's the president of the company. We've got Jordan, the director of operations, Casey, who's our director of support. All of these people there are at the office are vitally interested in anything that you have that you think, well, I don't know if I should take this on or not. The licensee actually said, should I take on this many doctors? We said, yes, we're here to help you. Remember, you're a part of a nationwide network of people that can help you out with that. And so anyway, that is Tyranny, who we're going to interview next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
She'll tell you about that group, yeah.
Hey, Ron asked a question. I think he feels maybe cheated out that we maybe skipped question number 8. We went from 7 to 9. I think I think you may have miscounted there on
I just looked at that and realized, well, I'll tell you what, Ron, for bringing that up, I'm going to throw in some bonus questions.
So we'll make sure that we get all full 10 questions in here.
You can tell this is live. I was working on these slides today, in fact, and I forgot the number 8. So number 9 was number 8, and number 10 was number 9, and now I'm going to throw in a bonus question for you. What will make me unique in the marketplace?
Okay, unpause your screen there.
Oh, thank you. I did pause it there for a second.
There we go.
What will make me unique in the marketplace? Now, folks, we've already said there are other companies out there. There's other billing companies that are in your area approaching the doctor. What is it that's going to make you stand out from all the competition that might be out there? Well, it's real simple. It's our system. The uniqueness of what we have is unlike anything. Most medical billers are going to go and tell the doctor, I'm going to do your billing, and they don't care about the system. They could be using some little outdated piece of software, that cost them, $1,000 that they bought off the internet doing the billing, and the doctor has no clue as to where they're at with their money. With our system, folks, think about this for a moment. The doctor has access from any computer or any other device that's connected to the internet, including his smartphone. He can see a schedule in our scheduler from the golf course on his phone. And he can see anything about his system on an iPad or any other computer anywhere in the world 24/7, as long as it has an internet connection. And then, of course, the uniqueness of our system has the ability to connect the doctor to all major labs, so he can see all of his labs in real time. It has a built-in drawing tool that allows the doctor to actually draw on an iPad, for example, exactly where the pain is for that particular patient and make annotations on it. He can fill prescriptions literally in real time over the internet before the patient even walks out of the office. E-prescriptions it's called. Ours lets the doctor dictate his notes. Yeah, literally he pushes a button on his iPad and can literally start dictating, and it'll turn it into text from voice to text right there before his eyes. These are the kinds of things, folks, that make us very unique. And one last thing I wanted to talk about we just added recently was our virtual office visits. Telemedicine is going to be huge in the future, especially with the Affordable Care Act coming down and 37 million uninsured Americans coming into the system. The doctors have to find a way to connect with people outside of a personal visit. And there's many, many things that can be done over the internet using something like this, like Skype. It's built into our system, and the doctor can actually meet with his patient. So, folks, if you're wondering what makes you stand out, It's what you have with our technology. All right?
And
One
then
more
let's
question.
Go, yep, and this is bonus question number 11.
That's right. We skipped one.
And
what
I'll
is
ask
the
this
success
question
rate?
to you. Yeah, Patrick, we get this question asked all the time. It's about the success rate of ABS licensees. So why don't you kind of tackle that one here as we kind of wrap things up this afternoon?
Well, it kind of leads into what I want to talk about here in the next slide, and that is one way that you can find out what the success rate of our licensees is to talk to some of them. Folks, we here at our office, of course, can tell you anything, right? You don't know us from Adam. I mean, we're over the Internet. We have an office down here, but you haven't seen it. We have real people, but you don't know who we are. So we tell people, look, don't talk to us. Talk to people who've been through our training. They've done the due diligence that you should be doing on our opportunity. And some of them will even let you visit them in their offices if they've opened a commercial office. So next week, right here on this webinar, next Wednesday at 3 p.m., we're going to be interviewing one of those successful licensees. I mentioned her earlier, Tierney Martin. She's out in California, and we want you to be on that interview so that you'll get a feel for talking what it's like to actually talk. Now, we'll be interviewing her, but you can type in questions just like you are today and ask questions to Tierney. So I'm going to give you a link. In fact, if you'll look in the little chat button, chat box, now this is not the question box, but there's one called chat. You should see a link come through right now. That's the one you see here on the screen. So you literally can just click that link if you want to right now and go ahead and register for the webinar next week. This is the lady who just signed up a group of 24 doctors. So if you'd like to talk to somebody who's wildly successful in her ABS medical billing business, Tierney's the lady.
Absolutely, and she'll be a great resource for people, for you to talk with, especially on the webinars, but certainly we do have other folks that you're more than welcome to talk to, especially about on the virtual brochure. We've got people on the virtual brochure who are willing to speak to you, and we want you to talk to them and talk to them about their success, not only as an ABS licensee, but their personal experience and their personal success that they've had building their own business.
That's right. Okay. Well, Eric, are there other questions out there we want to address?
Wow, there are so many questions out here. I don't even know sort of where to begin. I'm kind of going back through. So here's one that Marcy does ask. I'm kind of going back a little bit further in the presentation here. And about ABS, does ABS do dental claims? You want to address that one real quick? Because that is a question we get asked a lot.
Yeah, folks, dental claims are a little different from medical claims. Remember, this is a medical billing system. It's not designed for dental claims because in many cases you have to attach x-rays, for example, to dental claims, and they have to be mailed in, literally, still. So this is not a dental billing system. Now, one of the reasons why we haven't gotten into that arena is because it's a very, very small market. There are too many medical providers in your area for you to focus on the dental that are out there. Now, we do have a web-based dental system that we can hook you up with if you want to do dental claims, but it's not a part of our system because we don't emphasize it to our licensees because that's not where the money is. We say go after all of the medical billers, providers in your area first, that if you sign all of those up that you want, then you should focus on the dental. Remember, most people don't even have dental insurance.
Right.
And it certainly doesn't pay as much, and dentists don't see near as many patients as doctors do. So anyway, that's the only reason. But if you want to do dental billing, we do have a system that we can hook you up with.
Very good. All right, Patrick, there are all the rest of your questions. They are logged into our system. They will get out to, we will pass those out to your ABS sales rep that you've been talking with your ABS coach. And if we missed your question today, be sure that it'll get answered either via email or by a phone call from your rep. So don't worry about us if we didn't get a chance to answer your question today. Well, Patrick, it's the top of the hour. I see that you have the workshop again up there as a reminder. But before we close out, why don't you talk about your 100% money-back guarantee on the workshop itself?
Yeah, folks, this is probably pretty unique in the industry as well. I don't know of any business opportunity company or franchise even that offers this type of guarantee. It's pretty straightforward. If at the end of our training workshop, for any reason you don't think this business is right for you, simply tell any staff member and they'll arrange for you to receive a full refund of your license fee. Now, folks, the reason we can do that is because we know what we have. And we know that by the end of the week, you will say, not only is this worth $25,000, it's worth a whole lot more than $25,000. So we have been offering this guarantee now for the last couple of years. Again, I don't know of any other company that would let you go through all of their training, seeing all of their secrets and their proprietary information about how to build a business like this, and then give you all your money back if you wanted to. But we have got that in writing. I'll leave this one on the screen here, though.
There you go. Well, folks, our next training class is April the 8th through the 12th. It's just the first full week of April there, so you certainly want to be able to